Welcome to the checkout. We're going over the Premier League night for Andy and Corbin here. Off of this is one of those things where in the industry we could technically say we had another profitable night. It was like 1/10 of a unit. We were 2-1. It's just like
Every little helps.
every little bit helps. It's better than coming in with a loss. But we're going to go over some bets and some of the matchups here. So if you guys could hit the like button, and really appreciate you guys watching these videos and chiming in. We hope it opened your eyes to the amount of units that you can make in darts. This is a really gettable sport, and thank you for everybody for watching these videos. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so you get notified when all of these videos get put up, and leave us comment in the comment section. Every week, Corbin will go over the Luke Darley. This is 1 and 2 now through 3, and it was actually the one last week that we were a little worried about. We were worried about Gerwyn Price giving him some trouble. I'm gonna be focusing on this one here because I'm liking the overs. I'm back to the overs again here. This trend is now 2-1. Every game last week went over 8.5. Now you're talking some serious parlay legs in that one. So, and as we mentioned last week, we were 2-1. So it brings our total to 8-4 for +5 units total. And just so you guys know what we're up to in all sports, we're at 22.1 units on a nice pace for about 10 units per month. I know Corbin wants to up that just a little bit. So we'll continue to have high expectations for ourselves. All right, Corbin, let's jump into these. The first one, Michael Van Gerwen, Rob Cross. I'll just ask you, tried and true, going back to Rob Cross under the 2.5 180s.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the spots that I'm looking at. Over the few weeks, he's had 2, 2, 3, and 1. Again, just rinse and repeat. I don't see why we would stop now. So
let's see here. Van Gerwen, man, he really let us down. I thought in the second game he was going to come out guns a blazing, and he went back to the timid, like no killer instinct there. Minus 195. This could either look like one of the dumbest or smartest bets with just how bad Cross has been. Any take on who wins this one, or is this just a stay away?
It's one where I lean Van Gogh, but I will not be playing it. Interestingly, Van Gogh has won the first game every week so far and then lost in the second. All 3 weeks, won the first game, lost the second. Doesn't make sense to me. Cross looks completely shaky, quite honestly, coming off that huge collapse versus Littler 2 weeks ago. Last week was awful on the doubles. We'll get to that in a second. But Cross has won 5 of the last 6 head-to-heads, which I find a bit shocking, quite honestly. Was looking at the average. I'm not going to play it. It's at 96.5 this week. But I just worry he's not going to have the same amount of checkouts. He had 90.6 last week, which ordinarily you would go great because that's six points nearly under his under the line here. But he was 3 for 22 on the doubles. He is not going to get 22 attempts at a double this week, which is not going to bring it down. So I could easily see him having still losing like 6-1 or 6-2, but having a 97, 98 kind of average just simply because he doesn't have the checkouts. So
his game against Aspinall was truly an atrocity. It was absolutely a joke. It was really, really bad. So, and then what happens? Aspinall. Listen, Aspinall. I don't care what you say. Aspinall was on a lot of medicine. Did you see how like quirky and weird he got? Like,
he was sick though last week, wasn't he?
that's what
I
I mean.
remember.
He was
Yeah,
sick.
so.
He clearly looked terrible against Cross, and I'm telling you, he was geeking out on cold medicine. He was so weird. Good for him though. Gerwyn Price and Luke Humphries. First round of the. This is a great one. This is a
Yeah.
great one. Um, I'm not laying minus 185 on Luke Humphries in this one. What's your take?
No, so Eileen Price, so I've got the over firstly. Over 7.5. It's gone over in 16 straight head-to-heads between these two. Also like the over 8.5. They've both been playing well. Obviously played last week. Was a 6-3. I don't see it not being a 6-3 at least to someone. I don't see someone getting like 6-2 or 6-1 really. Price has been on a roll that last week, but then it's also like a letdown spot after winning last week. I'm actually my favorite play in this. I think is Luke Humphries under 3.5 180s. Some of the 180 props are juiced to minus like 200 in some spots. I think that's one of them. We'll get to. I have some parlay pieces coming up. Um, Humphries has gone under this total in 7 of 8 games this year.
Wow.
He's not getting the 180s that you would really expect. I also like the total under 6.5 180s. This might be a slightly better way to play it. They've actually got it at 5.5 here. Some books have it. You can get all different odds across the books. I would highly recommend checking which ones have alts, which ones have slightly different ones. It was 6.5 when I checked. Price is only really getting 2 or 3 180s. He's consistently getting 2 or 3, but he rarely goes into 4. So at which point, if I like Humphries to get 3.5, you could get this play at minus 120. So it technically works out better. So that's where I'm looking. One under 180s for Humphries, and the total under 180s is probably, and the overs is probably my favorite here. So
I love the overs. When we get done with all of them, I'll put together the alt
mhm.
total parlay there. Chris Dobey and Nathan Aspinall. Your guess is as good as mine in this one. I have no idea what to expect from these guys. Like you said, Aspinall was like really, really sick. What's he like this week? I mean, listen, we've seen. I mean, I'm going over to golf, but we watched Ludwig Aber shoot 9 under in the first round, get really sick, and he was off for 2 weeks. Like he was awful for 2 weeks. He could so there's some sickness that is just it's really, really knocking guys out. I don't know. I wouldn't trust anything in this game except my tried and true over 7.5. What do you think?
Yeah, again, it's really hard to work out because Aspinall had reached the final last week, had that weird first game where he was bad, but Cross just gave it to him being even worse. Then I'm still not sure whether he was particularly good against Van Gogh or if Van Gogh just completely fell off a cliff. But Aspinall's just one of those guys. He could be really good, really bad, or like he's just so inconsistent. He's really not convincing. Um, Dobey again, I've struggled to have a read on Dobey this tournament. They're both very inconsistent guys. The two that I landed on to speak to, again, I don't think are available at DraftKings, but it's 180s over on both of them. When I did this, Aspinall was over 2.5 180s at minus 180. He's had 6-4-4 last week, but then the 2 games before that, he's had 2-1. So it's like it's very hard to work out if last week was just an outlier or whether it's back to what it was doing the first 2 weeks. My favorite piece is Dobey over 2.5 180s. Again, not at DraftKings, at other books.
This just moved, by the way. This was not
Which
3.5 earlier today.
Oh wow.
It was 2.5. So I think either the books are with you or other betters are with you. But yeah, when I was checking earlier today, yeah, this was 2.5 with some juice.
Yeah, I really like the 2.5 on Adobe here. So he's had 3-4-2, but that was in a 6-1 loss to Humphreys, 5-2. So out of all the pieces that I've mentioned, that's probably up there at 2.5. Adobe 2.5 180s. So
Like it, like it. Let's move on to Stephen Bunting and Luke Littler. Um, I've settled on that Luke Littler overs are my favorite play in this one. Alt legs. He just it's just like what we talked about last week. He's screwing around even when he's way better than his opponent. It's almost like he's setting. It's almost like he's making games for himself within the matches. Corbin. I mean, it is. It's truly like I'll let him get up 5-1, and then I'll see if I can win. um, I could, like you said last week, like, oh, I could throw at the triple 20, but instead I'm just going to throw it to 18. That way I leave myself 170 to try and, close out. All of his games are going the distance here. They're going really, really long. He's not involved in blowouts. I think he's kind of just really enjoying himself. Last year it was blood, death kill for him in this. Now I think he's just out there kind of feeling himself. I love the overs. I would take the over 9.5. I would take Bunting plus 2.5. I'm not laying minus 2.5 on Luke Littler in the Premier League right now. He's just not blowing people out. What do you think?
It's another one. I really struggle with this game this week. Bunting looked better last week, but he just looks like a bag of nerves. Like you can just see from the minute they pan the camera to him, there's not the same kind of like conviction. Like he's walking up the stage, he's singing his song, and he stood there, and he looks like he's about to burst into tears. It's like you just something like
Relax,
he
Stephen.
can't hack the
Relax.
he can't hack the pressure at the minute, which is weird because he's almost built up the hype and pressure on himself. Um, can't go back to the averages after last week. Had 100+ average last week versus Luke Humphries. Against Littler, I don't feel like you can play an average under against him simply because he has to score. We'll see what version of Bunting we get this week. What is it? Is it 96.5?
96. That's what I was
I
going to
don't.
bring up. The books. Even though he cashed the over, they lowered it a point. What does that tell you?
I could even be content. Yeah, I can't say the words. I could even take
Tempted.
the over. Quite tempted to take the over. Like 96.5 is quite low in this kind of format. Yeah, it's one of those where it's tempting, but I'm not going to trust Bunting still yet. Uh, you mentioned it. Littler is so inconsistent. I just can't back him. I don't know if you saw, he came off the stage and threw his darts on the floor as he's walking down the stairs. I don't know. Part of me feels like maybe he just goes like, screw this, and just like smacks him for 6-1, 6-2 or something. That's interesting. I keep mentioning alt 180s. This is my favorite alt on the board. Littler over 2.5 180s. 5, 3, 3, 5, 6. He's hit it every week. He's going over 2.5. So where I mentioned like Dobey or whatever, uh, alt over or just as normal over at -200, I would put it with something like Littler over 2.5 180s. You can even get him at 3.5 180s, I think at -180 at some places. Again, I would probably play it. It's 180s or nothing for me with Littler right this second. So
I was going to bring up something for you.
okay.
What do you think about playing the draw on the 180s in every game? You only need one.
Yeah, I could see it. I don't know off the top of my head how many are draws. If
Littler hit it last week with Price, because Price, remember, he started off that last leg with two 180s, and they both landed
true,
on five. I'm just looking at some of these numbers and I'm going, okay, that total 180s are what, 2.5, 3.5? That's not that big
yeah.
of a range. That's
It's
not
an
that.
intro. It's a quick game as well. I was just looking up. So Humphries and Bunting both had two last week, so that cashed one of them. Price and Littler had five each.
Yeah,
The other two, Aspinall had four cross two,
dude,
and
you
Van
hit two
Gerwen
of
one
them.
two. Yeah, exactly.
Your week's made. You throw one unit on this, and if you get one of them, you're up. Especially if this Bunting Liller hits. That's 5 units.
Yeah, one hit, and I was just looking, one hit in night two as well. So again, that's at least break even or profitable slightly. I was
Yeah.
just gonna do week one has three of the four games in round one. So far you would have, it looks promising to me.
I think it's a sprinkle. I really do. Because it was the Price one. It was the Price and the Littler. Because I was like, you go back to the World Championships. It's just a lot of legs that they're going to play.
Yeah.
So if it gets extended, that's where Littler will throw 11 180s. It's never a draw. But these are so quick. Seems to hit
Yes,
damn near
definitely.
every week. So
Definitely something to monitor. So I mean, as I said, every week. So the first week you would have been profitable. Second week you probably broke even. Third week profitable. It's definitely one we can track going forward. I feel like
all right, I'm
it's
going
an
to track. I'm
interesting.
going to add that to the Luke Darley and the over 7.5 Darlays. But those are not
Yeah.
Darlays. Those are just playing them individual. All right, let's take a look here. This week it gets us to -172. That's every game in the first round to go over 7.5. I like it this week. I'm not really seeing the blowout. I don't think Van Gerwen and Cross is a blowout unless Van Gerwen like does what he does, but Cross is good enough to get a couple in there. Price, Humphries, that should be close. Dobey, Aspinall, they're both so inconsistent. That should be close. And then Bunting and Littler. So I think the only one that might worry me would be the Van Gerwen Cross one. So What's your take? Is
I
this
I agree with
endorsable?
you. Not for the price as well. I can't get there with Cross at the minute. He's a dumpster fire. If you just, I'm interested. If you just remove all the ones you have and just do 8.5 on Price Humphries and 8.5 on the Aspinall game, I'm just interested. I would prefer to go that route
All
personally.
right. So if you just did those two,
Oh, take away the 7.5.
all right. So if you just did those two, you're at minus 123, and then
I
even you like that. But then if you could throw the 7.5 on Bunting and Littler in, a plus 109. So
Yeah,
there's options there with the overs for sure. So I like where you're at with using the 8.5 on Price and Humphrey. Well, they're both going to win three. That's all you're looking for
I
in
think
that
so.
one.
I think
So
so.
all right, good stuff there. So what do we have up here, guys? Well, we're advertising our 30-month special. You get an instant discount of $100 off of a 30-day pass. Like I said, we're up 22 units this year, and really, we got off to a rough start the first couple weeks of January, and since then, it has been smooth sailing ever since. Last 30 days, we're up 32 units. So, had a little bit of hole to dig us out in the first couple weeks, and bang, we've done that. You're going to get tennis, you're going to get darts, you're going to get NBA and NHL, both of which are back. We're hitting a lacrosse play as we record this one. A lot of different sports and a lot of different ways to build your bankrolls. It does not just have to be college basketball. It can be golf. It can be all these other sports. I promise you, we've been doing this for years. We've been building our own bankrolls. We've been building other people's bankrolls. This is an absolute no-brainer. We don't run these 30-day specials very often, and we will open your eyes to a lot of different sports where there's a lot of different units to be made. So I got to tell you, Corbin, incredible tennis roll. Like
Thank you.
absolutely insane with tennis. I pulled it up, and he's on a 73 and 33 run since
Sounds pretty
last
good to me.
July. Yeah, sign
God, I
me
hate
up.
win. I hate winning.
Sign me up. Yeah, like 14 and 3 just over the last couple weeks. So you get all that. So don't miss out. All your 5% plays, all percentages, everything is included that. So just go to my page, wt.buzz/al, and take advantage of that. So
I will also say there's actually another darts tournament going on Friday. I don't know
I
if you
saw this.
noticed this.
Yeah, the UK
I
Open.
Yeah, there's a couple of players that I may have a play with some of these players in it. Some of them complete no names. Some of them it's basically the UK Open. This is just the first stage, so they're qualifying to try and get to the main draw. You'll recognize some of the names on
I
here, like
recognize these
Scott
two.
Williams,
Rasma.
what a Mainer, Callum Rhodes is on here somewhere. They're the kind of players that we're looking at. So we may well have a play with some of these people. So
I saw our boy Leonard Gates lost today. That's a bummer.
mm,
Bummer.
not Leonard Gates. Oh no.
Poor Leonard Gates. So
I'll never forget him dancing up on stage and making our player cry.
I know.
That's one I will never forget.
If you guys were not following us, yes, we had a bet on a professional athlete who started crying at the end of the game because he was losing so bad and the crowd was taunting him. And
And it's not like he was out of this game, by the way. He was only down the set at this point, and the full waterworks came on. He's still very. Gates tried to give him some pity legs, and even he
yeah,
couldn't take
he
those.
started
So
crying. And if you thought it was hard to throw darts at a dartboard, just try to do it with tears in your eyes. It did not go well for us, so we
whilst
lost.
hyperventilating as
Well,
well.
while the entire crowd is screaming at you. The worst day of his life. The poor guy. Poor Menzies. So, all right. So we may do a live show for this one. We may turn on the cameras and do a takedown live style for the show. We'll see. Just follow us in the Discord. I'll post the Discord link in the comments, and just follow us there, and we'll let you know if we're going to do a live show. I'd like to. I think we can, so we'll give it a shot. So, all right, that's going to do it for us. Hit the like button, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks very much. Good luck on all your plays, and we'll see everyone later.
Good luck.